Sir, before we start,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Yes.
We would like to have some background on your profession. So, when did you start teaching Mapua?
I started teaching a year ago,
So,
just last year, so 1 year. I've been teaching for 1 year.
that's in throughout your whole life or just in Mapua?
So before my first job,
Yeah.
my first job is after graduating from my undergraduate years. So I taught before for about 3 years at the LaSalle University. And then after that, I went into research, typical chemistry research. So I've done environmental research, analytical chemistry research, and my last project at UP Diliman would be drug discovery research.
Drug discovery research.
Yes. And then after that, I'm teaching while finishing my studies.
So, what are the subjects you most commonly teach in Mapua?
General chemistry classes.
Chemistry level.
Yes. Chem 11, Chem 12, and sometimes analytical chemistry. So I thought analytical chemistry lab.
So, sir, could you tell me what are your previous and current projects that involve your profession as a chemist?
As a chemist. So actually my field of expertise is in the natural products research. Yes, organic chemistry of natural products. So the type of research that I want to do is generally drug discovery. So from natural sources, let's say you have plants, animals. So the type of research that we do is we get drugs out of it. Drugs that can kill cancer, drugs that can kill viruses, drugs that can kill other microorganisms.
More like
to some extent, it's related to that. But we're more interested in the specific structure of the drug itself.
So, what are the examples of those plants, sir?
Those plants, some of those herbal plants would be particularly the type of plants that I worked before in my master's degree. So we call it, it was called katuray. If you're familiar with that one, katuray. And the other one is higat-higat in local, in Filipino words. So katuray and higat-higat. So on that research, we were able to isolate, I think about 4 compounds from those plants that has bioactivity. Okay, so
So, before we start,
yes.
we may introduce ourselves and my members. I'm Pedroso, the leader of the group.
I am over Tarrobago.
I'm Carvalho.
Nice meeting you guys.
So, sir, what is your idea about eco-friendly products? Give us an insight about what is your view about eco-friendly products.
Eco-friendly products. Well, actually, eco-friendly products is something to do with, let's say, biodegradable plastics. And then, let's say you have this certain soap, different soaps, because there are some, in your conventional soaps, you have chemicals there that are very harmful to the environment, especially after disposing it. Let's say washing your plates, and then you have this certain chemical after washing it that would go down into the drain and eventually to your river systems. So generally, research are being done right now to make more eco-friendly products that would be very good to the environment. So those are just some of the examples. So let's say soaps, shampoos, what else? Plastics, biodegradable plastics, and I think that's the general things that we usually use. Eco-friendly products.
So, how about eco bags? Give us your own views.
My views about the eco bags. Well, actually, eco bags is the one that is made in plastic.
Oxo-biodegradable ones.
Eco bags. Okay. So my view on it is we should have facilities that would somehow dissolve those also biodegradable bags. Because I'm not really familiar with the long-term process how to dissolve an eco-friendly bags. But let's say if you have other people who would just let those bags slide around in the environment, so I don't know how long it will be degraded. So probably research should be done on how those typical also biodegradable bags should be done. Or especially in the Philippine setting, probably we should have some facilities that would somehow collect them and properly dispose them.
But it's actually approved by the Philippine government, right? The use of this biodegradable plastics and bags.
Yes, I guess it is approved by the government. Pero sometimes they would just approve something and then they have no means of following it through. So I don't know.
So it is more on the implementation of the...
Yes, probably on the implementation side and probably the awareness. Because Filipinos generally are not really that aware or doesn't care about their environment. So, for example, Filipinos usually think more about convenience. So, let's say if I have an ordinary bag, which is more convenient to bring or just very more convenient to just throw around. So, Filipinos would really go for it. But we should create a culture of awareness that Filipinos should be more aware about their surroundings and their environment, particularly the impact of those conventional products in our environment. Because you really have to be aware.
So, how about recycling?
Recycling, again, it has something to do with the facilities. As an example for that, we have every day we have garbage trucks collecting our trash at home, and I don't know whether they are being recycled properly because sometimes they would just collect it, but we don't know really what's going on after they went to the facility. So there must be something like a systematized way of recycling it. Because for example, in other countries, let's say in Japan, the recycling, the awareness in recycling would start in the people itself. So sometimes, let's say they would drink a typical plastic bottle. So they would, after drinking it, they would be the one who would try to tear the label apart or even the cap and would recycle it immediately.
So
They segregate, yeah. The proper term is segregate. So they segregate immediately. Unlike Filipinos, we let's say we put the burden of segregating to this garbage men or garbage collectors. Pero in my opinion, it should start at our level, the segregation.
So, for the next question,
Yes.
do you think that eco-friendly products are more advantageous than those conventional products?
Yes, I think it has some advantages. Advantages in the sense that it is more friendly with respect to nature. Or let's say you have byproducts, for example the soap. Let's say you have typical byproducts, it would not harm the environment. So definitely it has a lot of advantages.
What are the harmful effects of manufacturing those conventional products? Like the one you have said,
The plastics, let's say,
soaps,
let's say
and
soaps,
plastic.
or for example the plastics or typical plastics. Usually if you look at the structure of plastics, well, probably, again, it boils down probably to the culture of awareness because usually Filipinos, when they dispose plastics or ordinary conventional plastics, they would just burn them. And then sometimes burning those plastics, they would emit other gases, other harmful gases.
Such as
Some of them would be carbon monoxide and chlorinated compounds.
Greenhouse gases.
Yeah, to some extent, yes, those greenhouse gases to some extent, and it will not only harm the environment air in general, but it will also harm us because there's a lot of possibility that we could inhale those dangerous gases, especially if the burning is done near our houses.
What could be the possible danger of burning such material like plastic?
Like plastics, well, usually, for example, some plastics might emit chlorinated compounds or compounds containing chlorine, Cl. And usually those chlorinated compounds is very harmful to our muscle systems or nerve systems. Again, it depends upon the concentration. It depends upon the concentration. Pero if you have this general culture of burning plastics around the corner, so concentration-wise, it would be very high. So it would be very harmful in human beings, particularly, or in environment, generally in the environment in general.
So what are the advantages of using eco-friendly alternatives to those conventional, like eco bags or
bags? Well, the advantages is that you can recycle them, and I think that's one of the more practical advantages, that you can recycle them. And then what else? Advantages of that one, you can recycle them. And once you dispose them, the byproducts of that decomposition would be a lot nature-friendly as compared to your compared to conventional types of plastics. Because let's say if your bag is made up of organic compounds, you can just easily bury it in soil and just allow it to decompose. It would be as simple as that, rather than putting it in a certain plant.
Sir, how about the cost of environmental or the manufacturing of environmental friendly products compared to the
conventional types? I think in terms of cost, probably for starters, I think it would be more costly. The environmental bags would be a lot costly. But if we're going to think of it in terms of the long-term benefits, I think the benefits would greatly outweigh the cost that you will be incurring for the product.
When you mentioned about biodegradable plastics, what
Yes.
about the eco bags or the other materials that are recycled from plastic, something that isn't biodegradable?
Something that isn't biodegradable. Well, I guess from the point of view of recycling it, probably it makes it okay. But eventually, you really have to dispose it. So, probably you should have a systematic way of decomposing it. More environmental friendly way of decomposing it.
Okay, how can eco-friendly products improve the health and lifestyle of a family or the household using them?
Using them, how to improve the lifestyle. So, probably again, something to do with the decomposition process, because like in my example a while ago, let's say if you burn conventional plastics or ordinary plastics, well, this time if you're going to use eco-friendly bags, it will be minimized, decomposition will be minimized, and what else in terms of that, and yeah, I guess basically that's it.
Sure, how can green or eco-friendly household products reduce the CO2 emissions of the family?
CO2 emissions. I guess CO2 emissions would have something to do again with the decomposition, because sometimes your plant that decomposes these plastics, so there's a certain process, and then they use energy, diba? So they use energy, and sometimes using that energy comes from coal power plants, especially here in the Philippines. So if you have less uh, conventional plastics that you are decomposing in that particular plant, then the less energy needed and the less energy that you will get from those coal power plants. And usually those coal power plants, those are the major sources of carbon dioxide emissions. So if you lessen the demand or demand for that one, you lessen also the energy requirement in your particular plant or manufacturing.
Sir, in the Philippines, we have those. Do we have those kind of technologies?
I think we have. I'm not specifically aware, pero I think we have those kind of facilities. That decompose those plastics. I think we have. And in some garbage pits, we can get methane gas. We can derive methane gas.
But it costs a lot of energy.
It costs a lot of money actually. It costs a lot of money.
So do you agree that using eco-friendly products, in the sense that they reducing the cost,
Yes,
not only in the family but
in the country in general. Yes, it will reduce the cost. And then I'm taking a look at it in the long-term basis. Long-term basis, not just on the short-term basis.
So how about aside from decomposition, are there any other ways that CO2 emissions are reduced? For example, alternative to automobiles are bikes.
Bikes.
What is your opinion about that?
What is my opinion? Actually, I would go for it. I mean, using bikes to go around, because I myself is a biker. I also love to bike around. Pero if you're going to take a look at our environment right now with all the pollution and smog, so I don't think it's not very healthy for you to bike around, especially in Metro Manila. Pero if you go to the provinces, you can enjoy that. And then at the same time, there are no biking lanes here. That's one of the problems. It's a good alternative actually, but there are no biking lanes here.
Depending on the area. I mean,
There are very few.
yes.
There are very few actually in Marikina. I know one in Marikina.
Ross Boulevard, there's also one.
Yes, Ross Boulevard. And actually in some parts of EDSA, you do have. Pero you could just imagine if you're going to go from one place to the other. So parang it's like alternating from the bike lane and no bike lanes. Diba? So it's not consistent. But well, hopefully if our environmental situation would get a lot better, I would maybe go for using bikes in the urban areas. It's a good alternative.
so do you think, sir, that using eco-friendly household products can improve our environment?
To some extent, yes, it does. It does improve our environment. It can contribute to the improvement of our environment. Because that's only one of the factors. There are also lots of factors that would pollute our environment. But it's a start. It's a start.
My last question.
Yes.
Do you think our country could, or the typical Filipino family can sustain a lifestyle, like a friendly lifestyle?
They could sustain.
Can you sustain?
In reality, a typical Filipino family doesn't have any concept of environmentally or awareness in environmentally good products. So I think it would start on educating these people, becoming more aware in the first place, because it really has to be ingrained in our culture. Unlike in other cultures, which are more disciplined or more aware, especially in European countries or probably in Japan, because like in one of my examples, the awareness would really start when the people themselves, when the individual people themselves. So hopefully, it's also the same thing that we could do here in our country, so that we could create more environmental friendly awareness. And one reality in the country is most of the people are in the lower class of the society, let's say C and D, who are more interested in other things rather than going environmental. So I think that's one of the problems also.
What can you suggest to make them aware? What is the best way we can do it?
Make them aware. I guess it's more of there's a lot of factors. Let's say those CND people, CND class. There are a lot of factors, and then some of those factors are connected with each other. Probably it's out of the topic, but let's say if you provide them with good jobs, probably, and then you put them in places wherein people who are more environmentally aware would influence them. So I think more education in general. We should educate them. And we should also serve as examples also. Let's say those people will see us, so we should start from ourselves. And we should also be practicing this more environmentally friendly way of thinking.
Even if we are the minority.
Yes, it would start from us.
So next, how efficient and suitable are eco-friendly household products for a typical Filipino?
How efficient and how
Suitable.
suitable. Well, in terms of cost, probably. So, let's say using bags, they would recycle them in terms of cost. And I guess generally in terms of cost in the long run. Savings, yes. Saving a lot of money because you can recycle a lot of things and you can do more with recycling, especially right now. You could just imagine, let's say if you eat at McDonald's, you use these plastics and you only use it for how many minutes, but after eating your food, you just throw it away. So if products are more environmentally friendly, probably would be a lot better.
How about the medical conditions?
Medical conditions, yes, siguro, probably, let's say in decomposing them, so the less plastics, conventional plastics that you have, the more, the lesser, let's say, lesser time that you decompose them. And eventually it has an effect on the environment. So that we check out what's in the chemicals.
So how about the cost? When they are using eco-friendly products, because eco-friendly products are slowly invading our market. So how can eco-friendly products lessen the cost or
Lessen the cost. Lessen the cost. Well, for one, like I said, when they recycle, they at least you don't incur any cost when you recycle something. And then at the same time, some of the plastics probably that we use in our normal groceries also came from recyclable materials. So if, let's say, you are a plastic manufacturing company and you get your raw material from recyclable materials, so it will lower down the cost of the product and eventually it will has an effect on the typical Filipino family. So they would be able to purchase products more.
I think that's the only problem about eco-friendly products today. They are not that affordable for a typical family.
Eco-friendly? I think they are. Yeah, eco-friendly products. I think it would depend. It would depend on the material, on what product. It would depend on what product. But generally, I think it is very affordable for the ordinary Filipinos.
that's all, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful time.
Okay, thank you also. Thank you for having me.
for giving us your precious
You're
time.
welcome.